Hi, welcome to the 1 in 20 show, where we're looking to find the next 1 in 20 successful individuals who are pursuing their passions so that you can too. And today we're joined by Justbeatz. Justbeatz is a 19-year-old hip-hop producer based out of Los Angeles. He came up in music from a young age and fell in love with the industry. He has poured everything into the craft, producing multiple singles as well as an entire album entitled This Is Not the Album for rapper Hundo and label Potluck. His relationship with primetime producers is landing him a very fortunate seat at the table to create for top artists.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, dude?
How you
Welcome.
doing, man? Thanks
Long
for having
time
me on
no
the
see.
show. Right? Oh my gosh, I haven't been on, or I haven't seen you in like what?
Probably 3 years.
3 years.
We went to high school together, and,
Yeah.
and I met Ryan Hundo, who was on the show, through him. And dude, life is flying by. We're
Tell me
doing our
about
own
it.
things now. And
Yeah.
Are you 20?
19.
19.
19, yeah.
And we'll kind of get into that because I think that's a cool part of your story, what you guys are
Right.
doing at Potluck.
Right.
You produce everything for Potluck
Yeah,
right
everything's
now,
in-house.
right?
In-house, yep.
And so let's just roll right into it. Get started with kind of where did your love for producing come in? Like,
Right.
And why is it hip hop? Why did you start at the age you started? Just fill me in.
So my dad was actually producing for like Ice Cube in the 90s. So maybe around 2008, 2009, I started DJing because I loved how he was producing for like some of these big artists in like the 90s and the early 2000s. So I got into DJing, and then from DJing it shifted to like producing in like 2015.
Awesome.
I was already DJing, so I was just like, let me see if I can, pick up some producing and see if I can get into this. And I loved it. And from there, it was just like DJing, producing. It's like it's hand in hand. So
Yeah,
it's really dope.
totally.
Yeah.
It's really cool with Hundo. We were talking about how so much is unseen behind know his voice and what you hear. You don't see all of the process behind what gets made. And for you, like as a producer, you're creating everything that you hear.
Everything.
And a lot of people I don't think people have a concept to think that. Like when you hear a good song, you think like, yeah, this is great. I love this song. But that's about it. That's where the buck stops unless you're technically minded.
They don't really go into like, how was the song made, or, the details behind the production, who was in the studio, who was writing the song. It's all just like, the final product.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't really, dig deeper into the process of making music.
Yeah.
So
what does that look like for you when you sit down? Like I was thinking about it today. For you, when you come in to the studio fresh, and you want to start something new, I think it's maybe what I'm asking is like kind of what is your creative process behind like creating each song?
Weird. Like someone asked me this question not too long ago. Life experiences, really. And it's weird because when I walk into the studio and sit down and start creating, it's like you don't know what's gonna come out of it sometimes. It's kind of just like you just start playing with stuff. Maybe play a little melody and then just start grabbing stuff and putting it together. But and then I really feel like that defines what might be the final product of the song.
Yeah.
So you really don't know. It's really, for me at least, I don't know. I don't sit down and be like, oh, I'm gonna make this specifically for this person, But just sometimes you gotta kind of freelance it. You just go in and freelance it. So
Totally.
yeah.
Let's talk about your collaboration with Hundo, all the stuff that you guys have put out together of recent. When did that kind of start? At what point did you? Because he had an album before.
Yeah, we started
Potluck,
working together.
right?
Yeah. Blackmail 25. That was, I think, early 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But we actually met through a friend of a friend. One day, if I recall, this was like January of 2 years ago. He was at they were just at his place. They were just working. I guess they were about to drop the album, but they were just working on some other stuff. And then I get a call from my friend. I'm in the studio. And then he's like, yo, you should come through. I got this artist I want you to work with and meet. And then from there, I went over. They were already cooking up. So, and I was cooking up from home. So I just, packed my laptop, went over there. And it was just like, we were all just working. Yeah. And then from there, we just developed a pretty good relationship. And we just took it off from there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Dude. And you guys are, the coolest thing that like we dissected a little bit when he was on was just that you guys are creating not just like albums. You guys are actually creating a label that is able to, obviously host different artists and have them all kind of create their own thing. So I'm curious, like, how do you see hip hop over time? Like since like maybe when your dad was in it with Cube.
Yeah.
How has it like evolved over time? Like obviously it's almost a completely different genre now than
It's
it
like,
was back then.
I feel like it's the new pop, to be honest with you. It's like you got Young Thug getting on, you know, what's her name? Camille Cabello, Havana type stuff. I feel like a lot of hip hop influence is just it's like the new pop, really. So you got mumble rappers, you know, I don't know everybody's taste, but you know, you got a whole bunch of different I feel like subgenres of rap.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool, in my opinion. Not everyone's gonna agree that mumble rap is the wave, but I think it's cool to see, you know, you still got the OG hip hop, you still got people like I say even like Ice Cube, he just put out an album like a year ago. It still has that kind of old school hip hop feel. But yeah, I just feel like it's evolved partially negatively, partially positively. So
yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting to see it grow. Like I think that like what you guys are doing like is like a sound of what like digital now hip hop sounds like.
Yeah.
Right. Like what you do sounds like super rad and like on the pulse.
Right.
But at the same time, like you're pairing with all these artists that are coming in and they're lyrical. And they're very lyrical. Yeah. And there's only like a small market for that now because like you said, mumble rap is like kind of taken over.
Oh my gosh.
And it's kind of unreal because it's you know, it doesn't take much thought really. I mean, the producer's doing everything, right? I mean,
pretty much.
It's pretty insane. But
when you have someone like I think Hundo, for example, he's very hands-on. So I think it's good that he's able to come in and, you know, when I think the term producing gets overlooked sometimes, producing doesn't necessarily mean, you know, you're programming the beat. Yeah. You're overseeing the whole song and the final product and how that's going to be. So I think Hundo does a good job of coming in and kind of putting his foot down on the creative direction on a couple things. So yeah, I think producing is a term that people get mixed up sometimes. It's not just beat making, but seeing the whole process and how the song turns out. So
how does that look for you? Like when you approach going in and maybe you're not with guys from the label. Yeah. You're doing stuff that, you know, eventually collaboration projects and stuff that you've already been doing and like the future of that. Yeah. How do you collaborate in the music industry? That's something that's really interesting to me because like for me, I understand it more in the filmic terms because I know like, you know, if you link up with somebody to do a short or a music video or whatever, but with this, it seems like it's a completely different process.
For me, I think I would like to go into a studio and sit in with someone and collaborate. But there's other ways, you know, you can send files over, they send it back. But for me, my creative process, I would like to go into a studio and just sit in there and just collaborate, bounce ideas. Yeah. Because I think that in-studio chemistry is really good for, I think, getting a better product. As opposed to sending a file over, maybe getting something good, as opposed to being in the studio where you can be like, yo, change this, as opposed to online when you're just like, you kind of got to deal with it sometimes. And especially if you're working with someone from like Germany or something, because I work with some producers from like Germany across the country or across the world, I should say. Yeah. So, yeah, I think the in-studio technique or way of producing is pretty cool. And I think that's something I would go with as opposed to, like I said, shooting files back and forth.
Yeah, that's interesting. And like the whole digitizing of media in general, like whether it be film or music industry, it's so fascinating to me that like everybody's, you know, like it started analog and everything that we did was, you know, like scratch tapes and you know, for us it was actual like printed film and like everything we were doing was so like eclectic and it had like such a value to it because it's physically there.
Exactly, yeah.
But now you're making stuff that gets printed digitally and everything's digital and you know, like you were just saying, like working through the cloud workflow, like you're working with somebody, it's amazing. But what's your opinion on like the whole analog versus like digital discussion?
Shoot, me and one of my producer friends that's on the label, his name's Eric, he helps me produce a lot of stuff. We actually talked about, you know, investing in some analog stuff and then, you know, hooking it up to what today's, you know, what people are doing today, using the analog hardware type of feel, incorporating it in today's music. So I think analog still has its room in the industry. I think people can still go back to it because you got people like Mike Dean, if you know who Mike Dean is. He got, all these type of Prophets and a whole bunch of Junos and a whole bunch of hardware, and he's using it on Astro World, Travis Scott stuff and Migos stuff. So I think it still has its room. Yeah. I don't think it's completely like dead.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's really that really like is super fascinating how I think just in general, like big picture, that like trends and all of that stuff always like seem to resurface. Like right now, I think there's like a surgence for like 80s, 90s again, and with Stranger Things and like with fashion and all that stuff. And it seems to me that like my parents' generation, growing up in like the 80s, looks back at like the 60s, the 50s. And I don't know what it is about us that makes us want to like look back. Do you think it's just to draw inspiration out of the decade or something?
Yeah, I think it's definitely drawing inspiration for me sometimes, because even taking like samples for, I might go back and get a sample from like the 80s and flip it. I try not to sample as much now. I don't want to get sued or nothing. But I try to, limit sampling. But, as far as inspiration, sometimes I do go back and be like, yo, I want, a 90s feel. So let's make something 90s, or something with a 2000s feel. So let's make something,
Yeah.
But I think going back for inspiration is it can be helpful sometimes.
Yeah.
But you have producers that they want to create a new kind of bounce or a new kind of wave. So I think that's cool too. Any producers and artists in general have their different type of ways of doing things. So
yeah, and it seems to me too what's like super fascinating about hip hop is it's a sound and like a feeling that you can't express in any other type of music. Yeah. Because it doesn't, it's digitally produced for the most part, like we were talking about. But you're hearing stuff that you've never heard before. Like today, like I was just listening to, I'm forgetting who it was, but it was it had such a weird cadence.
You gotta tell me who it was.
You gotta, know what, I'm just like, whoa. It is, let's see. It's Tory Lanez, and the song is Shooting or something. Okay. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, it has this like crazy like high timbre sounding like trumpets or something weird, but it's like distorted. And it's like, and there's some weird like the unsaid things about hip hop are fascinating to me. That like for you, when you're in the studio and you're creating something brand new, it's just you, like you said, it draws from life experience. Yeah. But like, how do you equate life experience to what you actually like, what comes out of you musically?
That's a tough one.
Is it kind of just unsaid?
Yeah, I think for the most part it's unsaid.
Huh.
That's tough.
Do you know what I'm saying though?
I do get what you're saying. It's just like
it's such a weird. It's almost like alien to us. Hip hop has that like alien sound where it's never been heard before. So unless it's like sampled or whatever.
Yeah, it's weird because I think with music in general, a song, I'll go back and tweak things and make them feel good. Yeah. So I think it's a mix of life experience and tweaking things to where it feels right in a sense. That's pretty much it's a tough question though. I'm just trying to put it together.
Yeah, because I know a lot of things in the arts are like feelings based too. Yeah. Like you just know it feels right and you do it, right? There's kind of unsaid things you don't know what to say about it.
if it goes with a life experience and it feels right, it don't get better than that. So I think as a producer, you get that feeling like right here that this is something from me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
something that interests me, like I was just listening through this is not the album, the album that you guys produced. Hey. And I was thinking like it has a feeling where every song really kind of somehow correlates to the one before it or after it. Yeah. But at the same time, like every single piece is like really different.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't say that it's like Astro World where almost every song kind of like is like an LP where it flows into each other or whatever.
Yeah.
So how do you like try to communicate like the theme of the album through each song if they have like different musical themes and if they have different sounds and
this is not the album. It was interesting how that one came about. It was like around this time last year actually. I was just making beats. I went like a 1 week stretch where I just locked myself in the studio making like, I must have had to make like 15 beats.
Yeah.
And then, I put those in a folder, sent them to Hundo. Maybe 4 or 5 days later, he hits me. He's like, yo, come over. I want you to hear some of the stuff I made. I gave him like 15 beats. He played me like he used maybe like 10 of the 15. And then he was like, yo, tell me which ones you like. Tell me which ones we should rock with. And at the time, we had another album we were working on. And then this was kind of just like extra. We didn't know. We kind of just wanted to make a mixtape, but we didn't know where it would fit within the time of when the album would be released. But he recorded like 10 demos, or 10 songs, I should say. He was like, yo, let me know which ones we should rock with. So we went through and listened to them. And then we just started selecting and, feeling which ones would make the cut, so to speak.
Yeah.
But so, we were just in the studio a lot at the end of 2018, just, crafting Tinta and making tweaks. Cause once he played me the demos, he was like, yo, let me know which ones you want to rock with. We went back and we made tweaks to the ones we loved.
Yeah.
And then from there we just sequenced everything. And then he was like, yo, where should Big Mad go? Or where should Bulletproof go?
Yeah.
And then we must have changed the track listing like 10 times. It was just even songs from the first cut got cut, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was just constant tweaks. And then when you're making tweaks like that, I think it's the storytelling, it becomes cohesive, and you'll find where each song should go based on, the storytelling behind it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's really interesting. It's cool to me too that like you've already produced an entire album at 19. And you've produced enough singles as well to say that you've almost done 2 just with the amount of tracks you've done. But there's something about the hustle, and we can talk about the hustle because I know that you can echo that big time. But
yeah,
something that's really important is all this unseen hours.
Woo!
I think Hundo said something like, you really don't have your real first like notable big success until you've put in the 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sure he's talked to you guys about that.
Yeah.
But it's so true though.
Yeah, you got to put time in.
I
think it's important because I don't know, it's just if you don't put in, it's a given. If you don't put in work, you're not going to see the fruit behind, what you're doing. So, yeah, I'm just, in the studio almost every day. Not recently though. I did break my hard drive. Big loss. But luckily I was able to back some of that up. But I was saying,
just give me a heart attack.
I know. I had some stuff on there, some good stuff.
Oh gosh.
But I think it's important that working consistently is I think it's a big cliche to say nowadays, like hard work pays off, but I think it does. I'm not saying I'm there, or I don't feel like there's a point to where I'm ever there or I made it. I think there's always a point to where I can keep working.
Yes.
And just keep grinding, because I don't think there's ever a stop. There's always more you can achieve, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is I was just having this conversation with somebody, I think at work, but the coolest thing to me is that you have the freedom to control how much you grow.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, and it's subjective. It's completely subjective. You put in the amount of hours you think you need to grow to where you want to be, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is, a lot of people have that chance, but they don't take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they want to be Kanye, or they want to be whoever.
Yeah.
Like I even think of Hundo. He talks about like, lyrical, like it's unreal how many years, he's 27, but like how many years went behind being able to do that. How many albums or how many songs you have put together that didn't even release that you spent, countless hours on.
It's just like even Tinta, like I said, we had like, how many songs got cut? I think we had like 3 or 4 songs got cut. I don't think that, like, for me, that's not a lot.
Yeah.
But still, for some, like, I'm not, putting myself above anybody, but for like the average producer or someone that's like not producing every day, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Craft 4 songs and they get cut.
Yeah.
Like they will be like, mad or kind of just like, oh,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, totally. Because like that's what they had. That was it.
Yeah.
Right? Like they put too much into it. And I always talk about that in terms of like visual media, like film and stuff. Because a lot of people who chase it like end up doing like one short or like one feature that they put everything into.
Right.
But then you look at it and you're like, if somebody doesn't, if the general public doesn't really like it,
yeah,
you just put all of that in and you didn't do anything else.
I think it's like you can't give up in those certain type of situations. You just got to keep working. More songs, more, in your case, more visuals. Or I think it's important that once you get feedback and it's not the feedback you expect or the feedback you like, I don't think you should just make that the point to where you just give up.
Quit. Right.
Because
right.
I've had beats that were just trash. I just had some trash beats.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. You're not gonna always please either the artist you're working for or the label or whoever it may be.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to just keep pushing.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. And the thing too is like if you want to pour everything into it, like I'm thinking about our audience that we reached with this, and it's common for us to like discuss like those little things that do take you to the next level.
Right.
I think one of them has to be that what do you do in your off time? Like what do you do when you're done at school? What do you do when you've finished the work day? Like for me, that's immediately like, oh, this is time for me to go work.
Yeah.
Like I was at work for 9 hours, 10 hours, but now I'm coming back and I'm working.
Yeah, on your craft, what you want to do for life. Yeah.
Right.
I think for me it's just school, music, and Xbox when I have time. But since my hard drive hasn't been up, I've had more Xbox time. But I think it's always good to, get some time to yourself. But I think you should know or have a limit, or there should be a boundary set. If you have something you really want to, put your 100% into, dedicate time to it. Yeah. I think it's important because not a lot of people do that. People expect overnight success, and you're not gonna get that. I don't think. Like I don't know if the dude, what's his name, Lil Nas X. I don't know if that was overnight. I don't think Old Town Road was like an overnight thing. So
no.
Yeah, I don't. Just keep working.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta.
Keep going. Yeah. It is really interesting though. Like, I think I've talked about this probably 100 times on this show, but there really is no formula to how you make it to the big leagues, right? Like, there are ways that you see other people follow that do it, but then if you try to take the same path, it doesn't oftentimes work. Sometimes it does, or like principles of what they did worked. But like you forge your own path, and like I've been trying to like help people understand that I feel like you need to be making intentional moves every single day.
Right.
If you get negative, you mentioned this earlier. If you get negative criticism on something, if you don't, not from somebody specifically, but if something you put out doesn't do well, if you're not looking at it and saying like, if you move away from it or quit, like you said, and you're not looking at it like constructive and say, okay, this sucked.
Yeah.
If you can't say this sucked, then the arts might not be the right thing for you, because that's the only way to like take that next step.
Yeah. And I feel like you need to know like when something's not good, or when people don't attract to something. Yeah. I think you need to be mindful of that, and then ask yourself, what can you do better? How can you build off of this to where you don't take that same L again? Even if you do take that same L again, like I said, keep pushing, and just keep working at whatever your craft is, because you never know when your moment is gonna, spark. Yeah. In my opinion, but yeah,
totally. Well, let's go to a break. This seems like a good stopping point. We'll go to a break and then we'll come right back. All right, welcome back. So let's get into a little bit about your inspirations. Like, I know that that's such a huge part of music. Is you kind of, steal from each other, but you kind of like take what works, right?
Yeah.
And you mesh it with your own style. So guys like Mike Will and like different producers that are like hitting
Yeah.
like every single big album that comes out right
Yeah.
now. Like, do you aspire to be kind of like them? I know you mentioned that you kind of like some of their stuff.
Couple pieces
Yeah.
of inspiration. Kanye, of course. I think Kanye has influenced hip hop ever since he stepped foot in the game. Being able to produce and then rap and then, you know, make hits as a rapper as well. So I think Kanye has to be in my top 10. If I were to give a top 5 or 10, this isn't in order. I would have to sit and think. Because this is like an NBA basketball all-time list.
Oh, that'll take me forever.
I gotta really sit. But Kanye, Dr. Dre,
Yep.
DJ Quick.
You got 4.
Are we going to 5 or 10?
I don't care.
I'll go to 5. I'll go to
Okay,
5. Noah 40 Shabib, Drake's producer.
Okay, yeah.
I like him. I don't know. Like I said, this is kind of just like a random kind of scattered top 10. Yeah. So this isn't in any order.
Right.
But I'm gonna just go to 5 just to keep, for time's sake.
I think like me and Nate before we started today, we're just literally talking about how there's certain artists that we always go back to, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, with hip hop, it's Drake always.
Yeah, Drake.
He's the guy literally fall out of love for him for like a year, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll come back and I'll listen to old stuff, and I'm like, holy cow, like this dude was so ahead of it. Or Kanye too. Kanye is like next level everything he did. But like, I think it's so cool. Like he collaborated with, I think it's My Beautiful Twisted Fantasy or whatever I don't remember what that album's called, but he collaborated with like that guy Bon Iver or whatever.
Oh, Bon Iver, yeah.
Yeah, and did that whole that whole machine sounding like auto-tune.
Yeah, I think like, also that's when Travis Scott's influence started taking place.
Yes.
So like his influence is all over that album.
Yeah.
And then from there I think that's where Travis took off.
Yeah, because he was on Kanye's label, right?
Yeah,
and then
I think it was Good Music, I think. Or Def Jam, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like really cool to see. Like, I think we all model ourselves after the craft. We all model ourselves after history, after what's been given us. But, like you mentioned earlier, you put so much life experience into what you do. You put so much of your passions and the unsaid and unseen things that like you strive to be somebody, right? Like you strive to be somebody that makes a difference.
Right.
And like I wanted to really argue that, when you do that, like when you want to be, set apart from others, that you don't lose your sight and kind of get too misconstrued in social media.
Yeah.
Where you get lost in what is trendy, because like the trends are important, but like they're not lasting. Like
they're not.
Me and Hundo were talking about how like just, social media influencers or whatever are literally brands just look at them because of the audience. Yeah. Right? Because Coke can sponsor,
Yeah, shout out to Sprite, by the way.
Yeah. I can't believe I said Coke. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, like they can look at somebody and say like, okay, this person has the audience. The eyes of media are on social media. So we're going to put money to have this girl promote, Sprite or Coke or whatever it is. And
I think social media, I don't think we've touched on social media. I think it's the first time. But I think it's really easy to just sit on social media all day and see what other people are doing. I mean, for me, I can't do that. I need to be working. But I think it's cool to, like I said, for sources of inspiration sometimes see, other than a booty pic, popping up on your feed when you can go on Instagram. I think seeing, for me, it's like what other producers are cooking up. I think that's a good source of inspiration sometimes. But like I said, just to be scrolling on Instagram all day.
It's so mind-numbing, dude. It's so bad.
Like, I don't want to go on Instagram and see a booty. Like, the first thing I see is a booty pic. Like, I don't want to see that. No. Like, at all.
Yeah, and it's either that or it's, somebody who's like, frequenting Instagram and they're like posting everything about their life, right?
Yeah, I don't
get that.
I don't, I'm not going to call nobody out, but, I can't, that's not me.
Yeah.
I can't put my personal life on social media.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. And the whole thing is like we're all really just prepping for the crash, honestly.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing is so stupid to me because a lot of those people, you know, I mean, it's great for promoting. I'll leave it at that. Like I think that's the only reason I'm really on it is to promote what we do here and what I do in my personal life. As far as my creative personal life, not my actual personal life, but like I don't really share pictures of me and my girlfriend. I don't do that stuff.
I feel like every once in a while, you know,
it's nice.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But just to be like, yo,
but constantly.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, you know, me, I can't.
Yeah.
If I had a girlfriend, I wouldn't.
Yeah. But it plays into your whole mentality when you're looking at like your craft. It totally plays into that because now you're all of a sudden you start going tunnel vision on certain topics or certain things about your about your insecurities or whatever, and then all of a sudden, you know, social media like really brings that to a head, and all of a sudden you start thinking too much. Yeah, and that's what I like about what you guys are doing at Potluck is because you guys like are making media and making it for like media's sake to do it, to make the art. Before social media existed, nobody cared about that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like this, like with NWA and those guys like made music because they made music. Yeah. They weren't even looking to make it big. They were just looking to do their thing.
How long do you think, how should I phrase this question? How long do you think Instagram is going to stay? Or how long do you think, you know, social media is going to have this much of an impact? Because it has I think it has
huge impact.
Yeah. How many more years if you were to, you know, give a timestamp?
I mean, I'd probably say about five at most. I think that it's probably in the decline already. It's I would take that back. It's probably at its pinnacle right now. Yeah. But I think you're going to start seeing that fall off
within the next maybe year or two.
Probably. Yeah. It'll probably be less people on it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I mean, I know for a fact, like I got on Instagram when I was 13 when it first came out. So it's a very different place than it is now. That's the whole thing is it's like every brand in history that has ever come out, every golden age we've ever had in history, from the Romans till now, they always fall. Like every big golden age that we've ever had always falls off. Yeah. Like we're coming back from like the 2008 recession, and the housing market's great right now. Exactly. It's expensive, but like it's doing great. The economy's better and all that stuff, but it goes in waves.
Yeah, it goes in waves.
In 2008, it was horrible. The recession was terrible, and it ruined the housing market and all that stuff. But now, it's on an upward, and then it's going to drop again.
It's weird. We're having this conversation. Me and my dad were just talking about Young Thug's album yesterday. He was like, he made this comment. He was like, Young Thug, he really he doesn't have a real hit of his own. Yeah. And it's like to stay in the game nowadays, it's like, you don't even need to have a hit. You just need to keep coming back with more music, I feel like.
Yeah, he's riding the trend because he's getting featured in every big song.
Yeah. I just feel like, you know, you got artists like, even Logic. I feel like Logic consistently drops, but Logic really doesn't have that one that, you know, catches me. Like he doesn't really.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, like I like Logic, but he doesn't have like that, you know, that smash. I don't feel like that smash hit. Yeah. Like a Drake or like a, you know, a Big Sean or a Kendrick would have.
No, and that's true. And maybe we could talk about this a little bit. Is just that, you know, he's a white rapper, basically. I mean, he's half, right? But he he's entering the game, right? And I think obviously Eminem like pioneered that. Now you have more white rappers coming in, right?
I feel like, you know, even not to cut you off. No. Even the female rapper influence now. You have like Cardi, Nicki, Megan, the Hot Girl Summer, Megan the Stallion, all these.
I don't even know those ones.
Really. Yeah, you have the female influence. I feel like in music interesting now. Yeah,
yeah, it's really interesting. But I mean, just to keep going, like last week I was at, I went to the 88 Rising concert, which is all, you know, it's like Asian American.
What's his name?
Joji, Rich Brian,
yeah,
Higher Brothers, all those guys.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother side of the market. So like you're right. I think you hit on this earlier that hip hop is the new pop, right? It totally is. Yeah. So now you have all of these different, you know, ethnicities and different groups coming in and jumping into it when it was so predominantly African American. Yeah. Like we had Evie on, who's the daughter of Eazy-E, and she spoke to a lot of this too. Like she's seen the game change so much, and she talked about like if her dad was still here, he'd be still doing the stuff that Cube and Dre are doing. that
I
is
can
like
see that for
so
sure.
ahead of the game. Like
Yeah.
they were so far ahead of it.
Yeah.
But then like there's been kind of a fall off once it hit the mainstream, I feel like. Mumble rap, and you have
Yeah.
like guys that are not as lyrical.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. The whole game is so interesting.
Yeah, there's, like I said, there's definitely been a shift. I don't know, some people might think it's positive, some people might think it's negative. But I think it's important to keep in mind that, it is what it is. I feel like, it's new. It's something I feel like, it might, like I said, it might decline.
Yeah.
I don't know where music's gonna be. People have asked me, where's music gonna be in the next 4 or 5 years? I don't know. Because I was listening to, as weird as this might sound, I was listening to Taylor Swift's album yesterday. Because one thing I like to do is like always keep my ear to different.
What's big. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I've been, myself, I got a lot of pop records I've kind of been working on.
Yeah.
So.
Trying it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to, as a producer, keep your ear to different things, not just trap music or just hip hop.
Yeah.
Like I've been, even like Nirvana.
Yeah.
I think it's cool to just, branch.
They're great.
Yeah. And the Beatles and a whole bunch of different types of music. I think it's cool.
Yeah. I think part of you just were hinting at it. Part of the craft really is knowing like the history of it, knowing who started it, knowing where it all came from, like just even DJs and MCs and all of that stuff. Why did that come about? Why was it a thing? And and it's so interesting to know who came before you, play off the techniques that exist, but take them in a new direction. And that's my problem with mainstream. Is mainstream right now is copying every. And it'll always be like that. Pop music will always be like that. But in hip hop, it's sad to see that you'll have somebody like Young Thug who's like featured in every song that comes out right now. And he's just bouncing with that trend, like you said. Yeah. But then when the trend dies, which in music happens fast.
People are always looking for the new one. I feel like people are looking for the new one right now.
Yeah, mumble rap. That's going away. Migos kind of pioneered it, right? But
Future,
I don't think Future. Yeah. I don't know if it's even with them. I don't even know if it's going to stay.
I don't even know. I feel like, even the Migos might even start doing like some, real OG
rap.
Pop. I feel like
pop.
Yeah, like even remember that song they had with Calvin Harris?
Yes.
Slide, I think.
Yeah.
I think, it might
that was really poppy.
Yeah, I think, maybe it'll shift back to that. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of just like a blur right now. I can't really see where it's gonna.
Do you feel like artists are the most authentic in their first 1 or 2 albums before maybe they hit the mainstream?
It depends. I feel like, nowadays it's like whatever it takes to get on, even if that means not being authentic. Like, it's sad. It's sad, isn't it? I feel like, I don't know.
But then it's tough because like, would you rather, like, you're doing really quality stuff. I mean,
thank you.
Amazing.
Appreciate it.
I love what you're doing. And I think what you guys are doing at Potluck is what needs to be seen. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that's like a lot of times until we make that break, like that's just, it doesn't always happen. And it doesn't always come to a front, but you guys are doing quality stuff that matters. Like to me, you guys are what hip hop should be in that you're creating stuff that is pulsing with what's popular, but also has a completely different flip on it. Like in a very subtle way. That's what you do. And I think it's amazing. And then, with Noah and with Hundo and like all of you guys are doing stuff that is turning the curve to what it's almost like hitting, going in reverse to back what was original. Yeah. Because he's lyrical, he's intelligent, he's thinking of things that are going to take it to the next level. And he's like kind of like leading you guys in this direction toward what should be. Yeah.
And I still think there's a market for, Hundo's type, that, the lyrical aspect of it, because there's been people that said, there's not a market for those days are over, it's all mumble rap like we were talking about. But I still think there's a market for that type of the lyricism and speaking truth into this this messed up world. I think there's a market for that for sure.
There's always the savants that like are based in rooted in methods of the past or the original methods of what brought a certain thing to where it is. Yeah. And it sounds like you're like that, because that's kind of like how I am with my approach with this, with everything, is I try really hard to dip a little bit into what's trendy, but not allow myself to be sold to it, like you talked about. Yeah. Because I think if you do that, you lose sight of who you are, and then you start putting out stuff for everybody else instead of yourself too. Like you need to balance it.
Yeah. One thing I like to do is study what's trendy, but then put your twist on it. I think it's important to not, you know, like when I first started making beats, I was just, you know, just almost stealing the trend. Like it was just sounding like everything else. But now that I know more about, you know, the production and everything, I think it's I have that freedom to put my spin on what's cool. Yeah. Like, even like I said, I keep bringing up this Lil Nas X, Old Town Road, and like I feel like no one else was doing that at this time. That was something kind of fresh, but it was trendy, but it was something new. He put his spin on it. Yeah. So
it was so different too.
Yeah,
when I heard so that random when you think about it too.
When I heard that for the first time, I was like, "Whoa, what's this?" Yeah. I was like, "This is." I didn't love it, but I was like, "It's cool. It's different." Yeah. So
it's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's really cool, dude. Where you're coming from, because I think there needs to be that authenticity. Mm-hmm. And you need to hear it from people. My biggest push is you need to hear that people are authentic that are not in the mainstream. Yeah. There's a lot of people who are grinding and working their butt off. And we just don't see it. You don't see them. That's what I want to do. And you don't look at them because, I mean, I hate to say it, I fall into it too. Like, I seriously think, would we look at each other the same on social media if they were gone? If the numbers were gone? Would we ever look at each other the same way? Because then all of a sudden the mainstream goes away. Yeah. You don't see really the hip hop charts besides like Billboard or whatever. Yeah. You don't see their numbers. So if none of that existed, where would we? I think it'd be so healthy.
I think like something I would want to do is just like, you know, once I build a little bit more of a name, I would like to get these, you know, artists who are in their bedrooms just working all day, like, you know, something like what I was doing or what I'm still doing. I would like to grab them and just, you know, put some light on their name, because I think people are working hard every day and we just don't see it. Yeah. Like, there's a whole bunch of SoundCloud rappers, you know, just, you know, grinding, and they don't get any light.
Yeah. Yeah. The grind happens when everybody's asleep, right?
I know, right?
It's really it. That's really what it is.
Yeah. And with my creative process, it's like, that's like literally how it is sometimes. Like, I won't, like, during the day, I'll probably just chill. And then once it hits like 10 p.m., I'll stay.
Dude, yeah, that's
from 10 p.m. to maybe 4 in the morning. And
you're in it. Yeah.
The phone's like all the way off to the side. Yeah. The phone's nowhere to be. Mm-hmm. I'll cut on the blue light in the studio. Mm-hmm. It's over.
That's so
I'm
cool,
just
dude.
Like,
yeah, you're in it. Yeah. That's so cool. Well, it's super inspiring. I think we're kind of coming to the end now, but I appreciate you like kind of delving into like your creative process, because that's something that a lot of people don't know how to talk about or like don't really want to. But in a weird way, like I try to get that from everybody, because I think that it's what people need to hear, because then they understand like, oh, okay, so I can kind of model myself after what that person's doing. And, you know, trying to get people in that are doing that.
Yeah, thank you for having me on here. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, find Justin on everything. Justbeatz.
Justbeatz. You already know what it is.
Yeah, with 3 Z's, right?
3 Z's on Instagram. At Justbeatz, PTLK on Twitter, and you can find my Apple Music. Go stream Tinta, out now, and I got a lot of new music on the way.
Yeah. Super exciting, dude. It's really cool what you all are doing, and I think it needs to be seen. But like, you guys got to keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. When no one's looking, right? I mean, I think Hundo said that on the show, is like, we're grinding when no one is looking, and then when they do look, eventually you'll have done your 10,000 hours. You'll have put in the work, and you won't be an overnight. You won't be an overnight success.
You got to put in that work.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. Do what it is. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. You can find us on everything at 1 in 20 Show. Be sure to go subscribe. We've been growing a lot in the last couple weeks, and we're really, really excited. Trying to get more people in like this, trying to scratch the surface with music and also with TV, film, and just try to keep bringing in that people that really like see the truth of what the arts really are and how to pursue them. And I think that we're starting to get there. This is like, we're getting toward 50 episodes, and I would say that these 50 are really my case study in trying to like figure out like, okay, for myself, like, how do I do this for me? And once I've been figuring it out, like, I want other people to know that, you know, it's just that first step, really.
Yeah.
You just make your first thing.
Right.
And then you just
Keep
build
building.
on it.
Yep.
And it's not as hard as people think. And I think a lot of people are scared to do the one. And I keep saying this like every episode now, but like people are afraid to do one. But if you can do one thing, then it's a launching pad.
I feel like it's 60% laziness. It might be 60% laziness.
Yeah. But it's that little bit of it's that little bit of a spell where you jump in. So thanks for watching us and listening, and be sure to subscribe. And we got a lot coming soon. Stay tuned.